Is it recording?
Oh yeah, it's good.
That's weird. This is type audio. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Those Two Geeks. He's Alex. I'm Joe. It's Saturday. It's a very rainy Saturday where I hail from. And I don't know if you heard that intro. I didn't know if we were recording or not, but such is life. We are recording now. And right before the show, I said we don't have a topic, but I just thought of one. And Alex, I figured we can go over this since we haven't officially gone over this on the show.
I'm actually curious what it's going to be because
Well, we've
I have
done
literally
comics.
no idea.
We've done toys a little bit. We might do some more toys today. We've
Yeah.
done wrestling ad nauseum, and we've done comic books a little bit. Figured we can get back to like movies and entertainment and TV and stuff like that. So with
Oh
that
yeah.
being said, I know we had an off-camera, off-mic discussion with our good friend Matthew Klein about this, but I kind of wanted to delve into it for people on the show.
Sure.
The reveal of Superman from James Gunn's universe, that promo shot of David Corn Sweat as Superman Kal-El.
Oh, the one he's pulling his boots on.
Yeah, I wanted to go over
Yeah.
that. So
Sure.
I wanted to give my take on that. And it's going to be a hot take because people are absolutely abhorring this thing. They hate it.
Okay. I'm
I
really
like it.
curious what. Yeah. Okay. So the thing is, so I'm in neither camp. I am
Okay.
completely and utterly indifferent to the costume. I don't hate it. I'm not super taken with it. I look at it like, I'm fine with that being a Superman costume, but I feel like there's not enough of it that you can see in that photograph to really
I
judge it.
concur with that. So my issue is I have gripes, but it's not about the shot. It's about the costume's presentation itself. I don't know what James Gunn was going for here. I'm not sure. It's very artsy. It's very like, I don't know, like Everyman. It's really Grant Morrison like is what I take from it. Like the costume has obvious New 52 vibes from the high collar. It's not very
Yeah.
high in the costume, but the high collar. The S, people keep calling it Kingdom Come. It's a New 52S. It's almost the exact representation of the New 52S.
Yeah, it is.
And
And
even the paneling and the
I was gonna
piping.
say it's
And
got the paneling, the piping,
yeah,
what looks like knee pad and forearm guards on there.
yeah. What I don't like is the fit of the costume. I think in David Cornsweet, see, it doesn't do him any justice in this photo. Like if this was what do they do? Like they call it like a screener photo. Like if this
Yeah.
wasn't an official like Entertainment Weekly reveal, if this was just like a behind the scenes test photo, I'd say, dude, nailed it. They're really doing great. They just need to make some minor tweaks. But since this is the final product, unless they tweak it again, um, it doesn't do him any justice because he doesn't come off looking like Superman. He comes off looking like something out of The Boys a little bit more. Like it's too baggy where the shoulder blades meet and like his pecs are. It's too baggy. Superman, it should be tight. I like the costume itself. I think it's new, it's different, but I really dig the pose. And I know everyone's like, oh, it's so stupid. I like it because I don't know what James Gunn's going for, but my interpretation is, first of all, it reminds me of a Norman Rockwell painting. I don't know why. It just has that vibe to me. But also, like I said, it's very everyman. This is Superman's job. He looks tired. He looks haggard. He looks ragged. Anyone prior to COVID who used to work a 9 to 5, when you get up on Monday morning after a long Sunday or a long weekend, you're a bit slow in your step to get to work. You're like, ah, oh, geez, man, I don't want to go. And why wouldn't Superman have these types of feelings?
Yeah.
He's the planet's protector, but it's also his job. He's like a fireman on a galactic level. And it's like, I like that aspect of it. And people are like, he's so slow putting on his boot where there's obvious destruction in the background. And it's like, that's the idea of it. What you're seeing is probably through Superman's time, and it's in a blink of a microsecond in our
Yeah.
time. So it's not really him taking his time.
And the
It's a
thing, you can't,
snapshot
like,
of it.
specifically to that criticism, you can't judge time from a still image.
No, exactly. And like, so it looks like he's conveying no sense of urgency to us, but I assure you, that's not what James Gunn's going for. I think James Gunn is going for a very, I think he's going for a mix of New 52 and All Star Superman. I think he's very taken by both those books
Yep.
and those stories, and he's going for a mix of those. And I think that's what he's doing. And I'll tell you, everyone's like, "Oh, is it Brainiac in the background?" I think it's Solaris, the Titan son from Grant Morrison's All Star Superman,
Oh, I
the
can
evil
see that.
son, the evil son. I think that's what that is. Actually, that panel looks like it. I mean, that image looks like it's out of a panel in All Star Superman. Just the color hues are a little bit different, but the same energy wave, the same shape, everything. So that's what I think it is. Um, but it's very Grant Morrison like. What I think it is it reminds me of New 52 Action Comics because that was the title that Grant Morrison had. And Clark was very grassroots in the first like 3 or 4 issues, if you remember. He was in a t-shirt with blue jeans and work boots and a cape. And he was fighting crime and fighting injustice and social inequity. And I think this Superman is very much going to be a continuer of that, but on a movie scale. I think Grant Morrison knows. I mean, not Grant Morrison. Yeah, sorry. I
James.
think James Gunn knows that Superman in a t-shirt and jeans and a cape isn't going to fly on screen. I think people would lose their ever-loving mind. So
I think it would work if it was
a flashback.
not even that. Like if he doesn't have his suit on him or it's destroyed or something, and he's got to find it quickly, and he can grab a Superman T-shirt and like a red blanket that he ties around and then
Yeah,
goes off for that. I think that would work. But you're right. I think that for a longer story, unless it's a deliberate, this is year one or like week one of Superman.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So I don't think you'll see that. I could be wrong. Like Clark, what is it? Lois and Clark? No, Superman and
Superman,
Lois.
yeah,
Superman and Lois did a great homage to the original Action Comics #1 costume in episode 1 of their pilot episode, which I maintain is one of the best things I've ever
mhm,
seen on CW, still to this day. And the kid was like, "Oh wow, cool suit," and he's like, "Thanks, my mom made it for me." Like that was just so great. Tyler
I
Kirkham
agree.
does such a great version of that character, of the everyman father who's like an older, more established Superman, but who's also grown to be a family man first. I think he does just a perfect job in representing that character. So that's fine. This is going to be its all new thing. I mean, this is not going to be Henry Cavill. Let's face it, Henry Cavill looks like he was chiseled out of granite and made from
Hmm.
like Greek gods. And you look at him and he just screams Superman. He screams Superman. You're like, oh my God, that's Superman. And that's what makes the destruction of the Snyderverse so hard for so many, is because some of the perfect casting was made. You
I
got Gal
agree.
Gadot, who proved herself as a perfect Wonder Woman. It'd be very hard to see anyone else other than her. And I have a sneaking suspicion we're still going to see her as Wonder Woman in James
I
Gunn's year.
Yeah,
I do.
I'm curious how that's going to work because I think in many ways this isn't a slight against Gal Gadot, but she wasn't in enough good movies as Wonder Woman
Yeah, of
to
course.
to cement her in as a, oh, this is our Wonder Woman. And yet,
I
ironically enough, I think Henry Cavill was also super popular as Superman, but
Yeah,
I think for me the defining Superman has always been Christopher Reeves.
I agree. I agree. Christopher Reeve is, and he's
Yeah,
classic. He's
yeah.
such a
I
timeless classic take on Superman.
there's a
And
reason why when people say glasses wouldn't fool anyone, you could go watch this scene, and you know the one I'm talking about, where he's
oh God, one of my
right.
favorite scenes ever when Lois and him are in
Exactly.
the hotel room
Yeah,
and
and
he
he
knocks
takes
him
them
into the
off, and
fire and he stumbles and he's like, And she's like, "Oh my God, Clark." He's like, "No, it's okay." And then he gets pissed off, and he's just like, "God damn it!" And he stands up, and he just stands really stern. And she's like, "I'm sorry." And he's like, "You don't have to be sorry." Like, he is perfect. You're
He's
100% right. That is
unreal. And
so
then
good
when
as
he
Superman.
goes to take his glasses off and tell her, and you
Yeah.
see him stand up, and holy fuck, that's Superman.
Well,
And
yeah,
he
because
changes his mind and he hunches again. You're like, and now he's gone.
it's
Like,
so incredible. That's the one thing. I don't know if that's a Dick Donner thing, or like a Richard Donner thing, or choice, or a Christopher Reeve choice. But I will say this: up until the comic books, until that point, there really was no real disassociation from Superman and Clark Kent, other than comic books are a visual medium, so you can show a guy with glasses and a guy without glasses. So it's a little bit different. But Christopher Reeve, because you had George Reeves, but
yeah,
Christopher Reeve was the first one to give that, oh my God, these could be two different people. Like, if I'm Lois, how wouldn't you know? Like, you wouldn't think Clark is Superman because he's a bumbling idiot. And even the
exactly.
posture slouch and all the nuance he does and the stuttering and just he hams it up. And then when he's Superman,
It's the
he's
complete
just
opposite.
immaculate and perfect. And he stands up and he's like, yeah, God, there is nobody better than Christopher Reeve. I mean, of all time.
No,
But I do think Henry Cavill is the best modern Superman we've ever
I
had.
I think that Henry Cavill had the potential to be as good as Reeve had he been given enough to do that wasn't a dark script that he had in.
Yeah, well, like, here's the thing. I always bought him as Superman. He
Yep.
is Superman. But Zack Snyder kind of created a world where Clark isn't a focal point. He doesn't really matter to Superman's mission
No,
in
he
Zack
doesn't.
Snyder's world. He doesn't. It's how Clark spends his time. It's when Clark wants a little bit of a break. But other than that, Superman's. I mean, Clark Kent isn't imperative to Superman in Zack Snyder's world. And for what Zack Snyder created, Man of Steel is still my favorite DCU movie. Still, by far and away, my favorite DCU movie. I love it. It's just
I'm not going to
that
argue with that. I think
the
Man of
first,
the
yeah.
shitty thing is for the DCEU, they started incredibly strong with Man of Steel, and
Oh
then it
God,
just went downhill from there.
it just should have been Man of Steel 2, and then, or they should have went from Man of Steel to Superman as the second one,
Yep,
and then they should have built to Batman. Rushing
agreed.
in from Man of Steel to Batman was just too quick. And then you were talking about you don't think there's enough perfect casting. I would argue with one caveat. I would say that everyone in the DCU gets credit, the DCEU. I mean, not credit, gets criticized. But I think Ben Affleck's Batman overall remains
Mm.
unscathed. I think everyone
I
high praises him.
Yeah, I
And
agree. The only reason I wouldn't consider that a perfect Batman is because there's been so many great Batmen or
there
great
have,
actors playing Batman
yeah,
that the irony isn't that Ben Affleck isn't great, but he's one of three
many.
great. Yeah, he's one of
Yeah,
three or four great Batman, great actors to have, or great
I agree. I
portrayals
agree.
of Batman that we've seen. And
I agree. I agree. And like, so rounding it back without getting tangential, like we just completely did. We went from like already. I like the idea of David Gordon Sweat cast as Superman. They're going
yeah,
for something a little bit different. And I really hope James Gunn thrives on making this more like Guardians 1 and less like Guardians 3. I
hmm
want a bright, hopeful Superman movie right out the gate. I want a, you know, chuckling, aw shucks, like somebody who loves what he does. You know what I mean?
I
Like,
want the cornball nature of this movie.
I do too. And I want a big threat with big stakes. And Solaris the Tyrant Son, all right, I can deal with that as like part of the movie. But I would really like to see Brainiac. I'd
Yeah,
really fucking
I
love to
think
see Brainiac.
you need to get Lex Luthor as not the he be in it, sure,
Yes.
by all means, but not the
Yeah,
focal point villain for a little while.
correct. Yeah, you don't jump into the gate. And I want the reverse of what we got with the Cavill and Snyder cut Superman. I don't want Lois brought in right from the get go. I want to return to the old love triangle, the old, it's a mystery and it's, cat and mouse.
Mm.
If you're gonna do a bright Superman, then please do that version. I love that version. But the thing is, that version would have never worked in Snyder's Superman.
No.
That's why it was so brilliant that he just brought Amy Adams in as Lois in The Secret right from the get-go, because he acknowledged this is a very serious take on serious characters in his point of view, and she's a Pulitzer Prize journalist. She would not be so stupid to have encountered this man and not recall and not be able to guess him with a pair of shades and glasses.
Exactly.
And that's what made his version brilliant. And like you said, I think Cavill could have been maybe the second greatest Superman of all time, if not the greatest Superman of all time, had he been given a bright, colorful, hopeful script to deal with after Man of Steel.
That's just it. Like,
And
Man of Steel put him on a great footing.
oh God.
And unfortunately, after that, I enjoy Ben Affleck in Batman v Superman. I did not
Very
enjoy
much.
like Henry Cavill as much in that movie.
No, he annoyed the shit out of me. I was so
Uh,
he was so depressing.
Yep.
Like everybody dies
And
nothing, there's no hope. Oh my
and
God.
Justice League, the theatrical cut was hot shit.
Oh, so
And
bad.
and then you have the Snyder cut, which was better, and I did enjoy it, but
It was much better.
I also don't really remember a lot about Superman in that movie because it was such a long film that
Well, because it was basically the stuff they kept out of Whedon's movie
yeah.
was really what they did with Superman until he came back at the end. And it had its great moments when Superman returned. I love the black suit. I don't think it was needed for the movie. He probably should have had the red and blue, but I liked the black suit. And he was when he took Steppenwolf's axe right on the shoulder, and he's like not impressed, and just pow knocks him like right out of the
Yeah.
gate. That was cool. I mean, Henry Cavill just had that magnitude and presence, and you're just like, wow. I remember watching him in The Tudors. My mom used to love that show years ago. And I was like, man, this guy would make a rocking Superman. Like, he just had that thing about him. And sure as shit, they made him Superman. And I thought it was cool. But, like you said, I adored the Zack Snyder cut. I think it's a very, very good film. And it's a tough film to watch because it's so long, but it's a great film. I think it is, as it stands, a really, really good film. It definitely shows what he was capable of versus what we got. But
I do think that the biggest mistake Warner Brothers and DC made was in cutting the shit out of that film, because had he been able to have or stick with his vision that he had, he would have ended up with a movie that was at the very least competent, right?
Yeah, because you would have got 2 more hours of a film, but it would have flowed so much better.
And even if they did part at the end, even if they did on part 1 and part 2, where Superman coming back is the end of part 1, and then fluff it out, so it's almost like a 4.5, 5-hour movie, but you can not fluff it out, but add a little bit more in.
That's what it should have been. It should have been when he shows up and dons the black suit, and you see the Silver S, and he shoots up from that tunnel. That should have been end of credits, end of part 1. That's what it should have been. I agree. And then we would have got Apocalypse and Darkseid and all that stuff. That would have been great. Mm-hmm. But, I think people have such a bad taste in their mouth from Zack Snyder. People are also gaslit about Zack Snyder, too, in a lot of ways. So that I don't think you'll see James Gunn go anywhere near Darkseid and those properties for a little while.
I don't think so.
No. And that's fine. Superman has a various rogues gallery. People don't seem to understand that. They always say, "Oh, he only has Luthor, Brainiac, Metallo, and Parasite." No, the Superman the animated series before it became Justice League had such a diverse variation of characters. They did the creepiest, coolest take on the Toy Man. They did there's Metallo. There is there's other characters, and the one thing I don't like from what I've read of the synopsis, but I'm gonna trust in James Gunn, is I hate the idea that they're going the Black Adam route
Mm.
with like how Black Adam tacked on the Justice Society. Now, Black Adam was in the JSA to be fair, so that's why it kind of worked. But I don't like the idea of like Guy Gardner and Metamorpho and like a couple other like C-listers are going to be in this movie. I think the biggest thing should always be, especially since you're doing this as like the apex and the beginning of a new universe, Superman should be the nucleus. He should
Yeah.
be patient zero, so to speak. He is, the starting point, the first super being anyone encounters on screen for this universe. It shouldn't be like, oh, he's in his 20s, but these guys have been doing superheroing forever. That doesn't make sense. It should be Superman came first and he inspired everyone else. That's the way I always thought it should be.
I would be
And
happy. So I would be really interested to see a 40-year-old Superman.
yeah, but they won't go that way.
No, I know. But I'd be really interested to see a 40-year-old Superman who's the one that's been inspiring people for a long time. And it's a Superman movie, but it's told through the eyes of like Blue Beetle or something, like a new hero
Yeah.
who's grown up idolizing him. And you frame Superman more as almost not like
a beacon.
Yeah, like a beacon, or it's like maybe you see Clark Kent coming in and out of the movie the entire time, and he's trying to do his best to mentor this young kid at the Daily Planet, and then you hear rumors of the Superman guy, or like who he is. And, I hope we see Superman flying around today. I don't. That means the shit's going down, and it's more of a show or more a movie that
that would be good for like an HBO Max
yeah, I would say it wouldn't. I don't think it would work as a movie per se.
It wouldn't work as a blockbuster.
I think it would. No, it would be great as like you said, either an HBO Max or even an animated film or a show or a couple of films like that. I think it would work well. But you're right. I don't think it would work as an actual movie. No. It could work, but I don't think it would do numbers that they would want it to do.
No, it definitely wouldn't do numbers. It wouldn't even do numbers, I would have to say, because people would probably be bored to tears.
Like, I would like it. Yeah,
I would like it.
That's just it. We would like it because we would like to see something different. However, I understand why it wouldn't work.
Yeah, like we have to remember that we're comic book nerds, and like the casual audience is a casual audience. It's like a casual football fan, casual basketball fan, casual baseball fan. They want the excitement. They're a casual hockey fan,
I was thinking you were going to mention hockey fans.
Yeah. It's time to move on. I was so angry last night, but no, it's one of those things where you want the exciting parts. You don't want to be like, oh, I'm here for the minutia of it all. No,
I'm 100% tangent. Could you imagine how angry Dallas fans would have been if the goal had been disallowed and then Colorado scored?
Yeah, that would have been crazy.
Yeah,
and actually, this round coming up, I'm rooting for my enemy, the Rangers, just because of my visceral hatred for the Panthers right now.
Yeah.
But I want the Stars to take the whole thing.
I wouldn't be upset if the Stars took the whole thing. I also wouldn't be upset if basically my thought is anyone coming from the West, I'm going to be happy to see win.
Mm-hmm.
I won't be upset if the Rangers win either. I just really don't want the Panthers to win. I have no reason to not want the Panthers to win either. It's one of those things where I'm like, I'm not a fan of a couple of players on that team, and from last year. Yeah. And I don't even think they're still on the team, but for whatever reason, my like of the team hasn't changed. So.
Yeah, no, I just don't like it. Obviously, we lost to them. And my dad, I was talking to my cousin Steven today. I was like, I know this is a tangent for people who don't want to listen about hockey, but you're going to for a few seconds. my dad used to like, so if my dad was alive, the Panthers beat the Bruins, my dad would root for the Panthers because he always believed if somebody beats you, they've earned their spot. You root for them and you want them to go all the way because you're the ones they fell to.
Mm.
But me and my cousin are like, yeah, fuck that. I'm sour grapes. Like, I want the whole team to go down in flames. I want it to be the worst loss of their lives. Like, I'm so bitter. It's like, even if it's like, but this is what represents your division. I don't give a shit. I don't care. I'd rather my division lose. I'd rather we, all go down in a Pyrrhic victory than concede and be good sportsmanship to let the Panthers win. This is the way I am, and I just think it's kind of funny. But like, I think what you were talking about, pivoting back, I think you were talking about what, like, the Superman idea.
Oh
I
right,
would
yeah,
love to see something
yeah.
like that on HBO Max. Me personally, because the one thing I adored about Justice League Unlimited, the animated series, when it finally got to Justice League Unlimited, was the smaller stories. Like when they did The Greatest Story Never Told, which was Blue Beetle. And it was basically, I don't know if you've ever seen this episode of Justice League Unlimited. You've probably
Oh,
seen all
probably
of them.
not. No, God,
Oh,
no.
this is probably one of the best ones ever. So it basically, the team has fought a monumental, I forget who the villain was, but they fought a huge danger that causes damage like unbound to all over Metropolis. And all the big heroes are up in the sky and they're, beating the shit out of like whatever cosmic force they're stopping. And you see Superman come down sometimes. You see Flash. You see Wonder Woman, Hawkgirl. They kind of get knocked down on their asses, but they interact with like some of the smaller characters, and then they go back up in the sky. And basically, it's told from the point of view of Blue Beetle and Skeet. No, not Blue Beetle. Booster Gold and Skeets. And basically, he's saying, you know, he was excited because he was picked on deck to be part of this mission. But what he's actually doing is being ground control. So he's like helping people across in traffic. He's cleaning up messes. He's doing things. And it's told from his point of view as what he views as an unimportant part of the Justice League.
Mm.
But at the end, you find out that he's a very big, important part of the Justice League because to the people on the ground who are able to interact with him while these gods are up in the sky, he's giving them hope. And he's
Yeah,
with them. He's their
he's the
voice. And
grounded hope that they needed.
I love that episode. And like what you were explaining about your idea of Clark being aspiring to somebody reminded me of that episode. Like that would be a wonderful one-off HBO Max thing. Listen, if they can do the Penguin as HBO Max as part of the Batman, then I don't see why they couldn't do something like that with James Gunn's Superman. Maybe
Yeah.
like a 30-minute episode or a short. That would be really amazing. But we don't write this stuff. I just
No, we don't.
dislike the idea of shoehorning so much because we're rebuilding the universe again, right? So you need to introduce Clark, you need to introduce Lois, you need to introduce Superman, you need to introduce Jimmy, you need to introduce all the mainstays. I think throwing in, Guy Gardner, Metamorpho, Fire, Ice, like these characters, it's like it's pointless. It's a chew up scenery type of thing, and it's not needed because you know it does nothing overall. Like, how does it make the movie better? I mean, other than, oh, cool, we get to see more people on screen. But, like, you know what? That's not what you're going for. You're going to see Superman.
Hmm.
We already got a Justice League. We just had it. We want to get something new again. We want to get a hopeful Superman. And it's like, let him be Superman himself. Introduce Intergang, introduce Maggie Sawyer and Dan Turpin and things like that. Like human characters that like he's friendly with, like the Metropolis PD and stuff like that you can really build on. And Perry White. I will say about this, I adored Lawrence Fishburne as Perry
Oh,
White.
absolutely. I thought he was
But
fantastic.
he was good, so good out of that whole series.
Yep.
So like I want more of that. Hell, if they even gave us Perry White as Lawrence Fishburne again, I'd be happy. I'd be fine.
I would
You
be
don't have to
fine.
explain it. It's a new universe. But kind of like how you got J.K. Simmons in, No Way Home. and you
You,
still had him in the
yeah,
Raimi
you don't have
Spider-Man.
to explain it. It's J.K.
Yeah,
Simmons.
yeah, and like if you want to at the end of the Superman movie, because it is Solaris, the Titan Sun, maybe if you want to bring in a Green Lantern and you want to, introduce the corpse, I'm cool with that. I just don't want them to be in there for like, I don't want this to become a hokey superhero team up movie. I do
Mm-hmm.
not want this to become a bigger budget version of Black Adam. It
Yeah,
really
no.
hurt Black Adam so much by having all that extra in it. So much. And, speaking of hurting so much, we're going to totally pivot because I have ADD and the TV's on in the background. So we are going to talk wrestling for 2 seconds. I watched Dynamite. We'll go right back to our Superman discussion, and then we'll close it.
I haven't seen any wrestling in
All right.
so long, and it's not
Good.
because I don't want to watch it. It's just one of those things where I just haven't had the time to
Yeah.
put. Not even that I haven't had the time. I haven't had the inclination to put it on. I was gonna try and catch up on Dynamite this week, yesterday actually, and I got distracted by Welcome to Wrexham. So I had that on in the background for a couple hours instead.
Yeah, and that makes sense because you're a football guy.
Yeah. Although
Yeah,
even if you're not a football guy, it's worth watching because Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney are fantastic.
I love Rob McElhenney.
Yeah.
I'm a huge Always Sunny fan. I've always loved that show. He's a brilliant, brilliant show writer.
He's fantastic.
He's so good. But so I happened to catch Dynamite and I skimmed through it and I was like, okay, the Bucks trying to be the NWO is really bad. It's just really bad. But what I really was shocked at, and this happens every so often, it's not always, but it happens every so often. Someone makes a fan out of me that I was not a fan of.
Hmm.
And this week, Willow Nightingale was that person.
How can you
Willow
not be a fan
Nightingale.
of Willow Nightingale, though?
I was not a fan of her. I thought she was so hokey, so boring, so lame. And I thought she was like a poor person's Bailey.
Right.
Like when Bailey was the hugger. I thought she was like an imitation of that. I love Willow Nightingale now. I think she's so fucking good. What I didn't expect was her mic skills to be so good. So they did the obligatory contract signing, which is a WWE thing, but everyone takes it. And I think Tony needs to leave it alone because it's atrocious with his cast. Brady, yeah, exactly.
The thing is, it's one of those things where I've never liked that anyway, no matter what promotion it's in when I'm watching it. It takes it away. Like, why would you have a contract signing in the ring? Like, I can't get my head around the kayfabe of that. It makes no sense to why you would set it all up in the ring.
I know, but so they had Mercedes Moné come out, and she's the CEO, and it's so forced with this whole CEO thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's just really forced. The CEO. It lasted for like 2 weeks. People chanted it, and now everyone's like, eh. And she's a heel. She's a born heel. And Willow Nightingale is the obvious face in this situation, even though they're trying so hard to get Willow Nightingale as the one who's not favored.
As the heel, yeah.
And you can't do it. She's too damn likable.
I know.
But Mercedes Moné, when you watch it, check out the promo for this. I'll give you just like some footnotes. Mm-hmm. The promo is like, basically Willow Nightingale is like, I respect you. I've respected you since we fought. I've respected everything you've done in the business. But for you to say, like, you are the business and you have made this way, she's like, you are completely lost. She's like, the words to my Titantron, and I love how she said Titantron because that's an old WWF phrase.
Yeah.
But she goes, the words to my Titantron, she goes, it says smile no matter what. And she's like, and I do. She's like, even on the days where I don't want to smile, even on the days where it's so hard to find something to smile, I still find something to smile about. Why? Because I have the best job in the world, because I'm doing the thing that I love the most. I have respect for this title. She's like, I am the face of TBS as the TBS champion. It means something to me. This is not a prop. This is not a trinket that I'm going to put on my mantle or, up my image. I defend it and I defend it well. And like her promo was so in character for what her character is that it was perfect. It was just like, I'm like, she's really good. She's so on point. And like, don't get me wrong, I've never thought she was a slouch in the ring. I think she's
No.
phenomenal. Not phenomenal. I think she's good in the ring. Really, really good. But Sasha or Mercedes, her promo was all over the place. It was all over the place. It was like, I'm the greatest of all time, and this and that. And it's like, your WrestleMania records 2-6. Like you're not the greatest of all time. You're not the
So
biggest
the
draw.
the thing is that ever since she's come back, and what I had seen of Mercedes Moné, I get that she's a big signing, and it's super cool that they could sign her, etc.,
Yeah.
etc. I have yet to really be impressed by. Oh, cool, that's what she's like. Everything I've seen, I'm like, that's fine, that's cool.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, you don't have a lot of like exposure to her as Sasha
No,
because you didn't
not at
watch.
all.
Yeah, so I wish I could say she was better as Sasha. I mean, she was, but it wasn't like leaps and bounds better.
Mm.
So it's just like, that's the thing, is just Willow Nightingale came off so damn likable that I know I will be utterly shocked if Mercedes loses the title in her first match,
Yeah,
loses the
agreed.
chance to win. But I want Willow to keep it. There's more money on Willow in the long run.
I would
Like,
agree.
why do you not want to build this rich character? Like, Statlander's good too, but she's not Willow Nightingale. She's not as fleshed out as Willow Nightingale. Like, Willow is a Willow is so good, and it's very rare. Like, she knows what her character is, what her bounds are, and like how to get the most out of her character.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a rarity. It is such a rarity that you find that in wrestling. And I just thought it was interesting to point that out. And the other thing I'll say is, if you ever get a chance to watch this guy Chris Van Vliet, who does wrestling interviews,
Oh yeah, I watch him every so often.
highly, 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 highly recommend his Adam Copeland interview.
Okay,
The
I didn't
recent
know.
Adam Copeland. Oh, it is so good. He does it in Adam Copeland's basement in Toronto,
Oh, fun.
and oh, it's so amazing. And like the thing is, Adam Copeland's one of my favorites. Edge, we'll call him, because that's what he's always is to me. Edge is one of my all-time favorites. And like the question came up, and I've never heard this question answered any other way, and I mean any better way. And Chris Van Vliet goes, what do you think of legacy? Like, what do you want your legacy to be? And Adam Copeland goes, what are you talking about? He goes, your legacy. You have a legacy in this sport. Weren't you afraid of going to AEW was going to tarnish your Hall of Fame legacy? Like some people who have come out of retirement. He's like, listen, this is sports entertainment. He's like, the legacy exists by the people making the video packages. He's like, it is performance. He's like, I'm an 11-time champion, but I'm a champion by choice. I didn't go out and win these accolades. I didn't go out and beat somebody like the UFC. He's like, I was good enough to carry the company ball. He's like, so I've never bit into the part of legacy on the part of some of these wrestlers, because that's where I feel a wrestler gets lost. Is you are a wrestler and it is a legitimate thing. But the fact of saying like, I am a legacy, I'm the greatest of all time. He's like, you're as great as the storyline permits you to be.
Yep.
Or as good as the booking committee allows you to be. He's like, it's not real. And then Chris Ridley's like, well, some people think it's real. He's like, oh yeah, I've met them too. And he's just like, I just thought it was so respectful.
Yeah.
And he's like, what about the Hall of Fame ring? He's like, the Hall of Fame ring means a lot to me because it's not a fake thing. It's I worked here. It's like a retirement. It's like anything else. You go into the Hall of Fame because you do your job well. He's like, but it's not the sense of a legitimate sport where, these are legitimate wins or losses. I think he brings up the Maple Leafs and I like drowned it out. But like he, is like it's not like the Maple. He's like, it's not like the Leafs winning things and they still haven't. But
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that kind of thing. And I just thought that was the coolest answer because I've never heard an answer that way. I've always heard, well, my legacy is I want to be the best. I want to be, the greatest who's ever done it. I want to pave the way, blah, 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 blah. All the answers you've heard before. I've never heard someone say, hey, it's performance. I'm as good as the storyline or the booking committee allows me to be. Oh, it's just such a good interview. And he talks about Undertaker too. And like, just, oh man, dude, it's great. I highly recommend it. It's one of his longest ones too. It's one of Chris Van Vliet's longer ones. It's like 2.5 hours, I think, or 2 hours and like 20 minutes or something. But it's really good. It's worth the watch. So
I find it interesting that you don't hear them talk about it that way before, because it is something that,
yeah,
realistically you can look and say, well, of course that, yes, you have to put the work in to have the best
yes,
performance, on the mic, etc.
yeah.
Like if you're no good on the mic and you can work the audience in your match, well, then you're not going to get very far. But if you've got something about you, you're going to
Yeah,
get a push. I mean, look at Ultimate Warrior. By
yeah,
all
right.
accounts, he wasn't the best in the ring,
No,
but he still got pushed because there was something about him that people resonated with.
You know
It's
what's the
I think
amazing thing is like he wasn't so good in the ring that Hulk Hogan looked good in the ring.
yeah,
That's
agreed. Like
impressive.
it's one of those things where you don't get someone like, I mean, I think it's more likely you get someone like the Ultimate Warrior who people just resonate with and they love him and for whatever reason than you do someone like Bret Hart who is good at every facet,
Yeah, exactly.
who can make people just look phenomenal.
Yeah, he can
And
make scrubs look amazing.
I mean that's what happened with I don't know if it was Lex Luger or if it was someone else, but Vince saw the match. This guy's amazing,
Oh,
and he
Lex
looked
Luger, yeah.
amazing because he looked amazing because he was against Bret Hart, and Bret
Yeah, I
Hart
know.
he looked
Yeah.
really.
And then he was terrible that program going into that
Yep.
WrestleMania. But
So,
yeah.
but yeah, like it's not often that you get someone who's really good at the performance and can also carry everything else that also gets pushed. I mean, Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels.
Yeah.
There's not a huge number that I can think of. I mean,
Chris
Kevin Owens.
Jericho
Yeah,
was
Kevin
very good at
Owens is
making
really
people
good.
look good.
Randy.
Yeah. Yeah. There was a lot of carrying talents, and Chris Jericho was
Yeah.
one who could carry any talent.
Yeah. Cody Rhodes is really good.
Cody Rhodes is phenomenal. I said this to my buddy the other day, so I guess we are talking wrestling
Oh
instead of just a
yeah.
tangent. But I said this to my friend the other day. Cody Rhodes is everything the WWE thought they had in John Cena
Yes.
when they were pushing John Cena in this character. Now, people who say, "Oh, John Cena can't wrestle," oh, he can wrestle his ass off.
He's
He can
really
wrestle his
John Cena is
ass.
really good in every aspect, but
Yeah,
his character didn't resonate,
no,
and and the WWE didn't pivot around that.
no, exactly. And like John Cena, if you ever want wrestling, go watch his U.S. Open Challenge for like 4 or 5 months when he was the U.S. champion, leading up to Seth Rollins at SummerSlam, where Seth unified the titles. It was every week was an absolute banger. Cena
Mm.
would pull something new out of his arsenal towards the end of the match or in the middle of the match, and it was just like you didn't see this in 20 years, and you're like, wow, this is incredible. But like Cody Rhodes is what they thought they had. Like Cody Rhodes hits on all cylinders. He has the cool factor. He has an amazing marketable gimmick and a logo. He has he's a make-a-wish dream, and he's just so damn good in the ring. And he's only good because he's forced himself to get good because he was dog shit when he started. If you ever go back and watch Legacy with Orton and Ted DiBiase Jr., I got to tell you, dog shit. But I loved Cody Rhodes when he broke on his own and became the Intercontinental Champion. He was serviceable in the ring, but he wasn't top notch in the ring. He was, he was serviceable, but he was getting better. But the thing about Cody Rhodes, and the thing he learned on his own by leaving WWE, but he started to learn it while he was in WWE, they would give him these stupid storylines and gimmick ideas, and he'd make them work. Like they did like an Elephant Man type gimmick where he, would put paper bags over the crowd's head because he was dashing Cody Rhodes and they were ugly. And that was so amazing. But then they did a thing where, and it was an accident, I believe. Cody got his nose busted in real life when he was doing that character, that heel character. He got his nose busted in real life. And they put a clear mask on him. And all he did was, bruise his nose. But in his mind, he was hideous.
Yep.
So he started coming out in like Phantom of the Opera style music, and like he was deranged. And like, that's just clever. Like he just got better and better at his character work. And then he perfected what he wanted to be, the American Nightmare. The only thing that's so ironic though, is I get it. You want to be the flip side of your dad. Your dad was the American Dream. But the American Nightmare is more of a heel. It's not a face type of gimmick. Like,
no, it's not.
So weird.
Yeah, calling yourself the American Nightmare, or just like a nightmare, it doesn't seem like it's the right name for his character at the moment.
No, but you will eventually get a heel turn. That's why I'm fine with it.
Absolutely, I think you will.
Because Cody's not stupid. And Cody has some creative control on his character in this contract. So he's not going to make the mistake of AEW where like Tony Khan's like, we can't change you heel. He's going to be like, dude, they're not listening to me. They're not responding. Let's go heel.
Yeah.
And he's going to probably sacrifice Jey Uso or Sami Zayn.
Even if like I can't remember if it was Tony that wouldn't turn him heel or Cody didn't want to turn heel, but I think
it was Tony didn't want him heel.
Was it Tony?
Yeah.
Even if it was Cody who didn't want to turn heel, I think that at that point you're still going to get the he would have learned from that experience where they're not listening to me. Maybe I really should. We'll turn and see how that goes.
Yeah, he learned from that Malachi Black experience when everyone was cheering Malachi Black at the top of their lungs when he's supposed to be the heel. Like,
which is hilarious.
It was great. It just shows you how good Malachi Black is too.
Oh,
and he's finally getting a little bit of his due. I mean, I'm not thrilled that he's going to go against Adam Copeland in a barbed wire cage match. I'm like, I'm shaking my head. I really wish he wasn't picking this match.
Yeah, I feel though that this might be Adam Copeland. I feel like as the performer, I could see him thinking this is a good time to drop it. Like I've done what I've done, and this is a good time to.
Oh, I think he has to drop it to Malachi Black.
Yeah,
I think he's going to. Yes, but what I'm saying is, I think this is an Adam Copeland request because if you watch Chris Van Vliet, he's basically said, I have an expiration date on me.
Yeah,
that he's self-imposed.
So he's trying to do all of the stuff that
he wants to do everything he can in this last run.
Yeah,
and like being champion was never really part of it because he even said he's like, it's not real. Like I don't care. I just want good stories, good performance, good memories. He's like, I'm having fun. He's like, that isn't bullshit when I go out there and say that I'm having fun with this company. He's like, I am. He's like, WWE, I have no ill will towards. He's like, but they just clearly had a different vision. He's like, I didn't want to be there to be a stepping stone for Roman and make Roman look good. I didn't want to be enhancement talent. Brady, don't you dare put this off of you. Sorry. Ah! Oh, hey. Stop sneaking it off of you. You sneaky little face. Sorry, Alex.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
Little shit. No, don't you get mad at me because you want to get out of your donut. You sneaky. You little bastard. Oh, he was listening to me talk, and don't you get all growly. Hey, He's mad.
He sounds so cute when he's growling.
You hear him?
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah. So I mean, I just hope he doesn't get hurt. I love Adam Copeland. I hope he doesn't get hurt. I don't think he needs to hold the AEW title.
No, I don't think so either. I think that if anyone that's going against him in a steel cage match, with the chance of working safely, Malachi Black would be in the top 5 or so people that I think, okay, they'll both come out of that okay. Bryan Danielson is another one.
Yeah.
Even Will Ospreay to an extent, I would say he would be safe with John Moxley. I don't think he'd be doing anything to. I think Moxley would come out of it looking like hell, and I think Copeland would come out of it looking like hell. But I think for the most part,
okay. Holy shit.
I think for the most part they would be relatively as safe as you can be given what they're doing.
Yeah, Brady's like a mogwai right now that got wet.
Yeah.
Really...
Ironically enough, I also think Darby Allin would be one of the safest people to work with in there because he would take all the dangerous bumps.
Darby Allin is back.
Didn't he get
hit by a bus?
That makes sense. That sounds like Darby Allin.
Like, not even his life books him right. Like, it's just crazy. It's so amazing. But yeah, they're doing Anarchy in the arena, and that's what Bryan Danielson's part of. I'm getting tired of these team ups with Eddie Kingston at this point, where it's like we don't know what to do. Let's just throw everyone with Eddie Kingston.
Yeah, well, I think it's one of those things where they don't really know what they've got. So many upper card guys and not enough mid card guys.
Yeah, right? Exactly. And it's just like, I don't know. Double or Nothing is supposed to be like their WrestleMania, and I'm not really super impressed right now because we got Will Ospreay versus Roderick Strong. Yeah, absolutely take the belts off Roderick Strong and give it to Will Ospreay. But then you got Danielson, who's I don't know if he forgot that he's retiring, but he said he was going to be gone by May, and like it's May, so
this might be what sends him out.
This could be his last match, but that would be a sucky way to end it. But I wanted a one-on-one. Like Dynasty maybe should have been his way out if that's what it was. Like go out on your high horse. But I don't know. The Anarchy in the Arena is like a fun concept, and you do it once a year, and that's okay. But I don't think it's just. I don't know. This pay-per-view doesn't feel like AEW's WrestleMania. It's all over the place. Swerve going against Christian, I'm just like, ugh. It had its point.
It's going to be a great match, but
it is. But what I didn't like is like they have made Swerve look stupid at every step of the way. Like so far in this feud, they've gotten the best of him every segment on every Dynamite, and it's like, And Swerve's your high point right now. I think Swerve Point is one of those saving graces of AEW because he is something different. He's an alternative. He's a cultural alternative. And it's like, if you want to prove that you're something different than WWE, then let's go. You know what I mean? And it's just, although the joke could be said that Cody is the black man's champion. Like, I don't know if I sent you and Matthew that Instagram post where it was going through all of the black champions in WWE history, and it ended with Cody Rhodes.
How do you end that? Like, Cody is the fucking vanilla white bread.
Because his mom is mixed race. His wife is African American. He is technically mixed race, but he's so the white part of the pan. Like none of the dark batter got on him at all, aesthetically wise. Like he's as white as me. Like it's crazy how white he is. He's whiter than most British people.
I know. Yeah, I know. Technically, he would be mixed race based on his mom, but I wouldn't look at him and say that.
No,
right?
God, no. Like, so I just think it's
hilarious. I don't even think Cody identifies that way. Like, I've never heard him say that about himself.
No, that's what makes it so funny is the people running with it. Like he's the black man's champion. It's so great. Like when it
Oh,
went through everybody, it had like serious music, and it went through everybody, and it just kept building and building and building, and finally, Cody Rhodes. I was like, oh my god, this is such gold. But yeah. So while we're on the topic of that, I guess we're not going to go back to Superman. We've pretty much said everything we can with
I was going to say
Superman.
we've said about all we can about Superman at this point.
Yeah, and we're gonna wrap up in a second. So that's AEW. The flip side of the coin with WWE, I'm not the super impressed with WWE right now. It ebbs and
It's not.
flows.
So it's not. Again, I said this on the last time Matthew's on. It
Yeah,
hasn't done enough to make me care, and I mean that
yeah.
like, I haven't even. Not only have I not watched any of it, but I haven't even had the inclination to read about like, oh, what happened recently, like, or to watch like what culture summaries and things like that.
Yeah.
Like, I've just had no inclination to do any of the. Oh, I wonder what's going on here. Like nothing
It,
at all.
same. Like, I mean, if it's the choice between X-Men 97 or WWE right now, X-Men
I mean,
97 takes it.
that's not even a choice, really, is it?
It's not even a choice. X-Men 97 is just. Did you see the finale?
Not yet. I wanted
Okay,
to make sure I actually
not gonna
have
say anything.
time to sit down and absorb it because I know when I had Welcome to Wrexham, I noticed because I was working at the same time and I could just throw
You
it on in the background.
think it's gonna go? This is what I love about that show is you. He looks like Edge, and this is the segue. You think you know me? No, you think you know
How it's going to
where it's
go.
going,
Yeah.
but then they curveball you, and you just they do it in a way when they curveball you that you're just like, I wish the comic books were written as good as this.
Mm.
I wish, like, I want to see their take on Onslaught. I'm so dying to see their take on Onslaught.
I mean, it could be very easily coming.
I won't say anything. Could be,
Yeah,
but
fair enough.
I'll let you know that like what you think is going to happen isn't what happens. That's all I know. All my speculation going into the final episode, no, it was better than what I thought. It was
Oh,
better than what I would have asked for. But the only thing I'll say is, like I told my cousin, the impression of I think Xavier's the weakest character in this show. I really
yeah.
do. I really do. He's almost like Daniel in Cobra Kai, where it's his show, it's his X-Men, and he's the most unlikable character out of all of them, including Magneto. I think Magneto is a very high point of this show. This is very much a Magneto-centric series,
Oh,
and it
100%.
makes I want a T-shirt that says Magneto was right.
Yeah.
That's what I want. But like every episode that Xavier's in, the impression of Xavier and Magneto is, Magnus, please, no, don't do that. You don't want to do this. Yes, I do, Charles. Shut up, old friend. Leave me alone. No, but think of the poor people. Shut up. Don't you ever get tired of it? They're like an old married couple bickering. And he's like, the more you hear Xavier whine, the more you're like, God, Magneto, shut him up. Do it. Yeah, Magneto's right. Like, you saw the episode before this final episode.
Yes.
When Rogue and Sunfire or Sunspot
Wait, how
chose to
many
go,
episodes are there in the?
there's 10. There's 10 total.
Let me make sure I have seen that.
Okay. Did you
See,
see the one with Asteroid M?
the last one I saw, it was a flash at the end of like the X-Men 25 panel where Wolverine had his adamantium.
Yes.
Okay.
That's the penultimate one. Yeah.
Okay.
So, but like, the show has been written in such a way that when Rogue makes her choice and Sunspot makes his choice,
Yeah.
I fucking side with them. I'm like, damn right, go. Why aren't they not
Yep.
going? Why are they sitting there? Why? Like, I love when he's like, your professor's dream is dead. I offer you a new one. Like, he's not a bad guy. He's offering you an alternative. He's like, listen, the humans have shit on us at every turn. I'm going to turn on the power and they're going to annihilate us. Or we can leave them to fend for themselves. They've made their own bed with Bastion, and we can go live up in the stars. But fucking Xavier, no, please, there must be a way. We can do it, please. Like, shut up. And I love when he says that. He goes, I've been waiting so long to say these two words to you, old friend. Shut up. Like, it's just, he says what everyone is thinking. Like, just so sick of
And
it.
the thing is that it's one of those shows where when the writing is good, or
Oh, it's great.
Magneto is one of those characters. Sorry, when the writing is good, I have never seen Magneto as a villain when he's written well.
Oh,
Have
like
you ever read Captain America 371? It's part of the
Acts of Vengeance?
Acts of Vengeance. Yeah. Do you know the story I'm
Yes.
talking? Yep.
Yes.
So for listeners, because we're still apparently recording,
Yep.
if you don't know the story, the premise, we may have spoken about it before, but the premise is someone, Red Skull, I think, had the bright idea that, hey, do we always lose against our heroes? Why don't we attack other people's heroes? We'll team up. So you
Yep.
get, say, Mysterio versus someone
The
else,
X-Men.
Daredevil for the X-Men. Ironically enough, that's the basis for Old Man Logan.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
But so in this case, you get the Red Skull teaming with Magneto, and Magneto very quickly ascertains, like, are you the same Red Skull that was in World War II? And he's like, yeah. And he's like, right. Well, I've had enough of your shit then. And the
Yeah.
comic is all about Magneto wiping the floor with the Red Skull, and Captain
Yep.
America doesn't quite know what's going on. Like,
It's so great.
it's a Captain America comic, but Magneto does what no other hero has been able to do and
Yeah.
takes out the Red Skull. Like,
It,
completely and utterly annihilates him. And you're like, huh.
in a violent, vicious way,
Yeah.
because it's written to his character where he was a part of the Holocaust, or he was a victim of the
Yeah.
Holocaust, and it's so well done. Like, that's the thing too. Like, Bastion in this show is epically done.
Yes.
He's a little OP, and you're gonna find out how OP he is in the finale.
Mm.
But if he was written this well in the comic books, I'd say Bastion would still be around a lot. This Bastion show, like the show with Bastion, is going to make him one of the top requested Marvel Legends, and also the top resold and sought after
Oh,
Marvel
you
Legend
can
from Hasbro.
already see it. Like the Bastion figures are going for insane prices already.
Yep,
I would be
because
shocked if we don't get a Bastion on 97 card very soon.
so Dan Young said that we're not getting any more 97
This
until
year.
this year, right?
Yeah.
And my guess is if they do, well, they're going to do a wave 3. He said they will do a
Yeah.
wave 3. But my guess is it will be Bastion.
Mm-hmm.
I would say they'll probably do Morph, since he's an easy fix with just a pop on head with a yellow body. I would say we'll get Bastion, Morph. I'm hoping Jubilee, but we'll probably get her in her black jumpsuit.
Yep.
Then I would say we would get, let's see.
I can see them doing brown suit.
Xavier, I can see we can get an Xavier in his Shi'ar armor.
Yeah, I think you'll get a brown suit Wolverine. Because
Oh,
again,
I hope we get a brown suit Wolverine. I've been
I think it's one of those things where if you've got the line of, say, 6 characters,
yeah,
we'll probably delve into Legends
we'll
again.
delve into that another time because that
or
deserves some
more,
thought.
but yeah.
But I can tell you right now, I'm currently hunting brown suit Wolverine from Aphex.
That is fair.
And ooh, no, it's not. he's average of $500.
All right. Well, I mean, I said it's
That's
fair.
crazy.
I didn't say it's a good idea.
No, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's
so
insane.
I'm not willing to, because they've re-released everybody else, and they just re-released Yellow Suit Wolverine again from Aphex. So I'm like, they've released everybody else. Like, I just picked up the re-release of Black Costume Spider-Man because I had FOMO and I sold it off, and now I'm getting it back and it's on its way to me. And I'm like, I'm never selling it again. Whereas, like, I got Gambit, I've never sold. I've got Magneto, he's stellar. I've got Jean, but now I'm going to go back and get, Rogue comes out in a couple weeks for pre-order, which I'm really excited for from Aphex. So, like, they're going to redo, because I just can't justify doing fucking $500 on Mayfex Wolverine when I know damn well the moment I pick that thing up, it will get re-released all of a sudden.
Yep.
So I'm like,
or you're going to end up with they'll announce brown suit Wolverine on the new body.
Yeah, and that's what I'm thinking they'll do.
Yeah.
I think they'll announce him on the new body for X-Men 97.
Mm-hmm.
And I love how they went with the Cockrum costumes for the end of the story.
Yep.
I didn't expect that at all. And that's a plot twist too, like, because that's not the costumes they were wearing in X-Men 25. But it's
No,
fun.
I think like I love the fact that they're blending
Oh, I
all of
love
these
it.
things together. Like it's a great way to say, oh hey, this is part of this storyline. This is part like it's another Easter egg for fans that are able to
Yeah.
see parts of the stories that we haven't seen before in one way or another. And it's a brilliant nod that way. Why don't we put a pin in it there? Because we could
Yeah.
continue talking toys for a long time, and I
Yeah,
feel
the
like
last.
you said,
Well, let me just say one more thing because I gotta get this
yeah, yeah,
off, or we can do it off camera. What I don't like is I was saying this. This is the only pitfall that I haven't been. I mean, I'm coming around to it, but we said since X-Men 97 episode 1 and 2 that Morph was confusingly OP. Um, he's even more so confusingly OP as the series goes on.
because
Like
he
he
can
turns into the
do.
Hulk and takes out a shitload of Sentinels, and he takes them out as Hulk with Hulk's powers. When has he been able to mimic the powers?
I don't know, because in the Age of Apocalypse, he was able to. He was more like Mr. Fantastic in that he could change
Yeah,
into
he was
things.
pliable. He could make himself into a wall, or he could make
Yeah, and
himself
he could
into
do, or like be hard, hard as a rock at certain points. So
yeah,
I don't know if that's a. I assume it's
97
a
thing.
show. Yeah, because I don't know if Morph was ever really in the comics. Because he was original to '97, and then they
Yeah,
did the AOA, and you saw
yeah.
him in there, and then
Oh,
I think he was part of the Exiles. But he was. I
yes, he
don't think he was
was.
ever. I don't think there was ever like a 616 Morph. I think we're gonna get
No,
one,
there was
but
Mimic was the closest thing
yeah,
we had. But was Mimic a person who could mimic the powers?
yes. So Mimic could
Okay, so
mimic
maybe
5 powers at
did.
once. Yeah, so I'm wondering, like, you could argue that Mimic could have it. Hey, he's got Mystique's power and then 4 others.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. You stop trying to take that donut off. All right, yeah, we'll end it here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let it go because Brady's gonna start growling again.
All right. I'm gonna leave Brady's growls in because I think they were pretty cute.
They're hilarious. It's kind of like the goat in Love and Thunder.
Yeah. Well, I still bring that goat intro back every so
Oh,
often.
I love
I
it.
am. Yeah. So we. Yeah.
No final thoughts.
No final thoughts.
Hey, thanks for watching the previous video from Graphic Policy Television. Just by watching, you help support our site. Thank you so much. Now, if you're watching these videos, you probably care about geeky things like movies, television, comic books, toys, games, video games, you name it. You can go and subscribe right now to our YouTube channel to stay in touch and catch all the new videos, or check out our website at graphicpolicy.com. There's a nice link on this end of the video. But as always, thank you for watching. Keep on rocking and keep it geeky.